This is a public service announcement with guitars. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 162 of the Anthem podcast. It is 2:32 Pacific. That makes it 5:32 Eastern, and we are live coast to coast on Facebook Live through the Anthem page. So welcome if you're watching us live or if you're catching this recorded.
Thank you very much if you're tuning in either here or on the podcast feed.
Yes, and we are coming to you as always from the Anthem studios high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California.
Hashtag OTALA.
Right. So we wanted to start out today talking about the aftermath of what was probably our best episode ever.
Drinking to Mayo 4.
Drinking to Mayo 4. If you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you go to otheanthem.com, go down in the feed. Not this episode, but the one just before this is the one you're going to want to watch because it's something.
Yes. We talked about how people might be a little bit worried or a little bit upset that we weren't drinking along with this episode as well, but it's because it's a once a year thing.
It is, yeah.
And my liver just can't handle.
Dude, if we did that every single week.
10 shots a week.
Oh my God. I don't know the people who could do that every single week. And I know there are people who like drink a beer and they're like, oh, what are you drinking? Like, oh, well, I don't drink beer. So it would be just whiskey.
Right.
And then things would devolve very quickly.
Yeah.
But
just like last night, it devolved really quickly when you and Rachel were drinking while I was out working.
I don't think it. Well, first of all, I had like a 3-hour head start on Rachel.
Do you not remember when you were saying like, do you think I could punch a hole right in this wall?
I was being facetious. I was just hanging out.
This is the noise you're making too. You're like,
I said, how cool would it be if you were just standing there and my hand just appeared in the other side of the wall?
I was like, not very cool.
I think it would be cool if it wasn't
at all cool.
If it wasn't our place, I mean, I think it would be very cool. The difficulty is that then
it was like a hotel we didn't have to pay for or something like that.
A hotel someone else paid for. That'd be totally fine. Anyway, so so a quick shout out to people if you're listening or if you're watching on the live stream, you can comment, you can call a text in and be a part of the show. I do want to give a shout out to Kenny from Dirty Shore Underground. New episodes of that podcast are now available. This day, Saturday, you'll be able to get the very first episode of season 2 of that podcast with new co-host Tony Steele, and I'm super excited about the new episode. So.
And we got Robin Bailey.
Rob and Bailey are watching. Hi, everybody.
Bailey.
And it looks like Steve Breckles has joined us. Oh, super excited about that.
Tank.
Yeah, so make sure you are on every Saturday that you are getting together with us in the live stream because it is the best way to consume the podcast because you can be part of the show. But obviously, listening on a Tuesday doesn't help either. But if you're doing that, you are breaking the first rule of the Anthem. Download, don't listen. But welcome anyway. While you're doing that, make sure you check out everything we have to offer at otheanthem.com, including the short films and the merch tab. You can get your brand new Drink Bo, Scream O, Play Ball t-shirts. The Orioles are going to be in town, I know, in a few weeks because someone sitting at this desk is going to be there to watch them.
Yeah, June 1st through 5th, I'll be home. The Red Sox will be playing against the O's at Camden Yards, and I couldn't be more excited.
And you're going to be wearing your Drink Bo, Scream O, Play Ball t-shirt.
Of course.
Right. So,
obviously.
If you want to be as stylish as Corey, clearly a man who has impeccable taste.
I mean, look at me.
Then you're going to want to pick up your t-shirt at otheanthem.com. Just click on the OTA store there, and you can get your t-shirt shipped right to you. So go ahead and check that out. But the aftermath was... you figured out what the score was at the end of the game, right? Yeah.
So, number one, I would like to call shenanigans on what happened last week.
Okay.
Just because there was a completely missed shot by you. You said drink. Nobody called you on it. I was already too drunk to monitor the situation.
Here's what I'm going to say, though. We play the game by the rules of the game. We self-monitor. I self-monitored many shots.
You also said something like Trump beat Trump and only had to take one shot as well.
Yeah, but we sent it to the judges. The other part of the game is we sent it to the judges and the judges rule. And the judges said one shot.
So the final shot tally as was actually taken, like the number of shots actually consumed was 10 for me and 9 for Rob.
Ooh.
But I assume that if the Trump for Trump shot was called or the drink which was missed at the end was called, then it would have been a win for me.
But here's the thing, you can't guess it because those things change the final outcome. Who knows what might have happened if those got called and it changed the context of the conversation.
This isn't like,
You
like,
can't
what
Monday-
if that ball was called a strike and like
You
how
can't
would
Monday
it have
morning
been
quarterback it.
No,
you can't Monday morning quarterback it.
It was pretty simple. It's just how many times you said the word, and you were supposed to take a shot for every time you uttered the word. So if you say it twice, then that's it.
I feel like you're doing a little Monday morning quarterbacking. In the end, this is the result. Drinker de Mayo 4 is in the win column for Rob. So that makes 3 Drinker de Mayo wins for me. 1 for you.
Yeah.
And I am no longer concerned as I was
You know
the
what
morning
I'm gonna
of.
you know what else I'm gonna stop doing? Like
Drinker de Mayos
something tells me there would be a horde of people who
would be upset about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
What I'm gonna stop doing is usually somewhere around like the 30-minute mark after I've gone like a solid 10 minutes without drinking.
You say it?
I just say something to like throw it out there to make people happy, like going like oh God, I hope it doesn't turn out like Trump. Oh shit, why'd I say that?
But then
quickly
drink off the cliff.
Yeah, and then as
that.
soon as I do that, it starts getting precarious. So
right. So we'll look forward to Drinker de Mayo 5 if we survive that long. But as predicted, at the end of the night, we were supposed to go do things with people. That did not happen.
Nope.
There was, Rob may have forced Corey to take another shot after the show.
Yeah.
So,
which
sorry.
is why that picture of me lying down next to the bath toilet ended up happening.
Yeah. So if you want to see the aftermath of what happened at the Oh the Anthem studios after the show, check out Oh the Anthem on Instagram. There are some fantastic pictures there. You can check out my Instagram at Robert N. Cheek. There are always great pictures there, and an absence of musicallys this week, but usually some fantastic musicallys as well. I would say that you could check out at Legend CB5 on Instagram, but not a lot of picture taking from you.
Well, I posted a video yesterday.
I meant of the after event.
Oh no. No.
There was no phone handling whatsoever.
No. It was a pretty quiet night on the Instagrams.
Yes, yeah. So, but we have survived. We're here for episode 162. And one thing that didn't survive the week, though, Corey's beard did not survive the week.
Or the Capitals, fucking Shattenkirk.
So, those of you who know me know that I couldn't give 2 shits about hockey. I did, however, sit quietly and watch with you. I got into the excitement of watching the game.
Right.
But really, I'm just like, I was not secretly hoping for, but I was, once the game is over and they have lost, now I'm just looking forward to you shaving and getting a haircut, only one of which happened. But
well, I'm not getting the haircut.
all right, so here's what I'd like to do. For those in the live stream right now, let's give a vote. Who thinks that Corey should get a haircut from what this mop top that he's got going on right now? Let's get a vote going on in the comments right now. Haircut or no?
Why don't everybody give us like a like or a love or something like that if you
so
want the haircut.
Let's do this. A thumbs up, a like for keep the hair the way it is, and a haha, a laugh for cut the haircut. So
All right,
let's see what it goes.
Let's see what the tally becomes.
So let's go with what are your feelings after the Capitals lost there?
I'm just like so like torn inside because the team is always so talented and they're always so good, and then somewhere along the way we're getting some likes and ha-has. It's oh man,
I'm seeing a lot of ha-has.
Lots of well, shit. Something tells me that just one person is just going crazy with the.
Well, it's somebody who's very passionate about it. And Steven, Rachel thinks that he looks cute with the curls, and also that he looks cute with short hair. So she's absolutely no help because she doesn't want to upset him.
Yeah, she doesn't want to get involved.
Right. Capitals.
The Capitals. They're always so talented. They're always in the thick of it, and then they always get eliminated by the second round. So I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah.
I just.
Well, how about we reform the NHL playoff?
That would be nice.
Yeah.
So we don't have to have the 2 best teams play each other in the second round. That would be lovely. I think here's the thing. We got the Capitals have so many free agents that are coming up this offseason. And it will give you an opportunity to let some people go, bring in new blood, kill Kevin Shattenkirk. All these things can happen, and then we can move on and become a better team in the future. Also, controversial opinion, despite the fact that he's won like 5 President's Trophies now. Fucking fire Barry Trotz right now. Do it. I'm done.
Okay.
If you cannot get this team to get their shit together enough to get through the second round of the playoffs, you're done.
Is it a coaching problem though? These are professional hockey players.
At a certain point, you have to hold people accountable. You have to tell them you're not playing. Like I would sit Shattenkirk especially down and be like, you're not playing. Do not dress. Do not come to the stadium. You sit home and think about what you've done. And then if you do that once, you tell Kevin Shattenkirk that he's detrimental to the team being able to win.
Yeah.
And then you have to sit home and think about it. Then everyone else starts thinking about how they're gonna, because Kevin Shattenkirk's not like some rookie who just came up.
We traded you for your defense. We got you for defense, and you're not doing your job.
We traded him thinking that we were getting a defenseman, and instead what we were getting was a big piece of shit who sits in the defensive zone.
But
they can't play defense.
Ovechkin's going out there with a watermelon on his hamstring that's this big.
By the way, hockey is very famous for its injury reports.
Yeah,
where it says Alex Ovechkin is out with an upper body injury or a lower body injury.
Yeah,
doesn't specify. His wife just posted a Snapchat
of the lower body
injury, and it looks like somebody took a hammer multiple times to his hamstring. So it was a gruesome image.
And he played through it, and he played some of the best hockey, not the best, but some of the best hockey that he's played. But you can't carry a team on your back.
He wasn't really great in the playoffs. He never is like. I feel like Alex Ovechkin sort of finds himself in the same position that Alex Rodriguez did.
Okay.
For a while there, when Alex Rodriguez for the first 5 times he was in the playoffs was 5 for 38 or something like that, and people are like, he can't do it in the big games, he can't figure it out, blah blah blah. That's not the Capitals' problem. Is not Alex Ovechkin. The problem is that they don't set anything up. They all just crash the net. They act like children. And, I know from a million miles away, if you get into the power play and you're just wheeling the puck around, it's going to find its way to Ovechkin in the left circle.
Yeah.
And he's going to try and one-timer a slap shot right into the net. That's his goal.
And is that the way
if you see the puck being wheeled around and you see Ovechkin getting into that circle, you know the puck's going to be coming from there.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is just, as the goalie, square up towards that and just hopefully stop whatever shot's coming in. But if you know it's coming, it becomes a lot easier.
Right. And that is why they lose playoff games. Yeah. Although, surprisingly, they took it to 7, which I was not expecting.
Well, so here's the thing. Here's the painful dagger that is being a Capitals fan. Game 6, they play a beautiful game.
Right.
In all aspects of the game. Offensively, defensively, they're being aggressive in the neutral zone. Holtby was incredible. He was on his head all day. And they didn't let the Penguins shoot. Just keep them from having scoring opportunities and it'll be better off for you. In Game 7, they go back to being the Capitals where they blow it and can't even have any kind of a semblance of a game plan.
Right.
So if they would have played like they played in Game 6 throughout the entire playoffs, then they'd be Stanley Cup champions. But because at some point they're going to turn into a pumpkin again.
Is it better for it to have happened now? Listen, because we've talked before about the losing to the team that eventually wins it all, and the Penguins are looking good. They could win it all.
Yeah, they're the favorite now.
So is it better to have lost now when you lose to the Penguins than especially in the first round of the playoffs?
Where you lose to the Maple Leafs?
Yeah.
I mean, given my druthers, I'd rather lose to the champion.
Right.
But it doesn't make it any easier because it's the Penguins.
So if it was the champion but not the Penguins, that's the better case scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
If we played the Blue Jackets in the second round.
Right.
And they went on to win the Stanley Cup, you could say, this whole system's bullshit.
Why are we playing them so early?
Why are we playing the third seed in the second round? This is horseshit. And then you would move on to they won the Cup, so maybe if we would have won that Game 7, we would have won the Cup.
Team of Destiny even. They were going to win it. We were just not the team to win this year.
Right.
But they lost to the Penguins. And now the Penguins are going to win it all.
Here's the follow-up question. Do you think are you a little bit worried about the lack of offensive production from the Orioles?
No. This happens. I am happy that we are in the position we're in. We're still 8 games above 500.
Oh, yeah, above 500.
Yeah, above 500. And tied for first or 1 game out first, I think now. So
I'll get I have
you can pull it up.
Suzuki sidekick up on my
I'm not concerned. It's early. And if the Orioles' wheels are going to fall off, they're going to fall off in June, not May. So we went through many lean years.
Orioles are up by half a game, and they're 10 games over 500.
Good. So 10 games over 500, and they're up by half a game in May. We, in previous years, had been pretty far out of it by this point. There were years where we're
statistically eliminated by May.
But I think we joked about this before, but there were years where in June it was getting pretty hard up to. You're not statistically eliminated because you could still win a lot of games, but it's like we're out. You're not going to win it. Like, there's double digits on the out of first place board when you go to Boston to play. So what do you want from this team? Like, yes, they go to the Big K, Kaufman in Kansas City, and I heard a lot of. First of all, bandwagoners. Can we just shut the fuck up? Honestly, like you guys who are like, this is the greatest team ever when Trumbo walks off in the 11th or whatever.
Yeah.
I love when you're that. That's fantastic. But then when you're like, this team can't produce, they're going to lose every game. How many times do we have to say it? You win 54, you lose 54. There's going to be losses, and then it's about what you do with the middle ones.
Yeah.
Kaufman is a big stadium, and there was a lot of long fly balls that all I could do was sit there and say, that was a home run in Camden Yards. Like, when the guy's on the warning track at Kaufman, that's 20 rows deep at Camden Yards. Like, it's a big stadium.
That's an epic blast.
Yeah. And so it's hard to play there, and Camden Yards has its own wind issues. But, like, when you're a team that survives on the long ball, you have to worry about going to stadiums where it's hard to hit home runs. Yeah. And Kaufman is one of those stadiums. But I'm not concerned. They played small ball. They got the tying run in the 8th by playing small. They showed that they can do it. They were close to coming back in the 9th, and Caleb Joseph hit a triple in the 9th inning. Caleb Joseph hit a triple in the 9th inning. That's ridiculous. This team can win, but you're gonna lose 54 games.
Yeah.
Don't get concerned about it. Stop. The sky is not falling, and if you're gonna be that kind of person, just shut up. I mean, I don't understand I don't get the mentality of people who are like, everything's horrible. I want to die.
I think that's just a general Baltimore thing, though, because I mean, like everyone
waiting for the wheels to fall off.
Yeah, I mean the same thing happens with the Ravens, where you lose a game to the Lions by 3 points, and you're just like, this team should be blown up from space. Like,
well, and that happened in a year where the Lions went to the playoffs, and it's like, listen, I get that usually the Lions suck, but we have to take it on a year-to-year basis.
I know, but I'm saying like any loss that isn't the Steelers is like unacceptable. Like,
or the Patriots. There's a level of like, all right, well, listen, it was the Patriots. It's okay. We were in Foxborough. It's hard to win.
We were in it in the fourth quarter. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is a level of that. I don't get the sky is falling people, but Baltimore, can we just buck up a little bit, honestly? Can just let's look at history, and let's know that this team is going to be a competitor when it comes to September. We have been 4 years now. I know we are a city with PTSD. There has been a long time of like being disappointed, and we don't know what to expect, but there's been 4 good years now where we're competitive all the way through the season. Don't lose your shit in May. I almost said April, but in May. Don't lose it in June. Don't lose it in July. Let's see where we are at the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And take it from there. So,
it takes a little time.
It does take a little time. So the other thing that takes a little time is for us to be right about everything.
Yeah.
So
eventually it comes through.
Eventually it does come through. So I don't know if you saw the news this week, Corey, but there was a bit of news out of South Dakota.
Nothing happens in South Dakota. I don't know why that would be a thing.
So if you've been a fan of the podcast for a while, fantastic.
Thank you.
Welcome back, and thank you. Yes. If you're new, go to otheanthem.com and check out some of our older episodes. But last year, I want to say last fall, we did a lot of talking about the Dakota Access Pipeline and the protests that were happening there, and basically everything that was going on. And can you give the folks a rundown of what was happening at the Dakota Access Pipeline?
So, in a nutshell, this conglomerate of oil companies created this pipeline that was going to transfer oil from Canada.
From the shoals in like Edmonton, Alberta. Yes.
Yeah. So from Canada all the way through the United States, it's a pretty useful thing for transporting oil. But the problem is that it's also not very safe because these pipes leak and burst and go into rivers and streams and kill animals and people and everything like that.
But wait. No, they're making an ultra-modern, new, safe pipeline. This will not leak. You don't have to worry about it. 17 million people who are depending on their drinking water in this area, including the tribe that was inviting people to come out and protest. They don't need to be concerned because this pipeline does not leak.
Except that this week it leaked.
No. Here's the funny thing. It did leak. It leaked back in April.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell anybody
until
this week. Why didn't they tell anybody? Well, a couple of reasons. One, the insidious reason is they didn't want anybody to come back and protest.
Yeah.
They're almost done. They're almost done the pipeline, and they're like, let's just sit on this for a while, and we'll finish building it, and then we'll take it from there. The other reason is because it didn't harm the environment. So, for those of you who may not be aware, there are these little junctions where the pipeline is like, what are they called? Pig chutes, right? Is that what they're called? Pig chutes? Where you can actually get in to clean the pipeline. So it's a place that there's like a portal into the pipeline. And they were using this place to test the pressure and make sure all the pressure was right. And in future modern pipeline, where this little place to get in and check the pipeline had a leak. And when they tested it, it spilled out into the environment. But they have this like concrete and then granite or gravel and like a whole sediment system. And it didn't seep down into the ground. So long as they could scoop out all of this stuff that they had prepared and take it away and then re-put the stuff down, they don't have to tell anybody that there's been a leak.
Yeah.
More importantly, nobody knew about it. The only people who knew about it were the DAPL people, the people who made the pipeline.
Yeah, by the way, also, all these people who are there and are live streaming and are doing reports from South Dakota trying to cover the protest, which, by the way, was outrageously difficult because the cops were kicking out everybody. Not even cops. That's minimizing cops. These were private security that were paid for to bust heads.
Yes. Pinkertons. These are Pinkertons, if anybody knows what a Pinkerton is.
So we need to... These people are all the DAPL protesters are talking about like this back in April and saying like it's leaking, it's doing exactly what they said it was going to do. And nobody listens to them.
No.
The news doesn't get out. We're still talking about Trump like every single day on CNN.
Yeah.
Maybe every once in a while we should just take our time and listen to the people who are trying to tell us things and just accept it. Because, I mean, like Trump signed Obama had stopped the pipeline
right
from being continued until there was more investigation done into it.
Yes.
And then one of the first things that Trump did was sign it, saying that it's all good, go ahead and build it, even though he owns financial stakes in the companies that are building it.
And they are going to use American steel.
Nope,
they didn't do that. No, they did not, in fact, do that. But the other thing that he did was then slash the EPA and a bunch of other federal agencies where scientists check these kind of things and make sure that they are safe. He is now planning to cut their budgets, and he laid off a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Including mostly scientists, the people who do the actual work of checking these things.
The actual science.
Yeah, I don't know what is happening right now in the country because there's more to come. We're going to talk about more things about how messed up this week has been, but there's got to come a point where we say, when are we done with oil? When is oil just not worth it?
I don't think it's going to be anytime soon that we're done with oil.
Of course not, but
I mean, just realistically, there's too much that is like feeding that beast at the moment.
Yeah.
But I would say that I think Kent, his parents bought a whole bunch of solar panels for their roof.
Right.
And they were the first people I ever knew who had solar panels for their home. So when I got there, went over to their house when they first put it up, I was talking to Kent's dad. I was just like, "Oh, how's it going?" He's like, "Oh, I put solar panels up." And we looked at them, and I asked him questions. And then as soon as I heard about like all the things that like went into it, like they had to pay a huge sum up front,
right,
to install the solar panels, but they get a tax rebate.
Yeah.
So for somebody who has an extra
$3,000, $4,000,
$5,000 lying around that they can get back a year from now, it was a worthwhile investment for him to put it up there. And then he was saying, most months I get money back from BGE because I'm giving them more than I'm taking.
Right.
And if I ever have to pay an electric bill, it's almost nothing. And I was like, well, what's almost nothing? Thinking that I'm going to hear like, like $100 or something like that for this big house. He's like, oh, like $3-4. I'm just like,
sure.
Why isn't everybody doing this? It makes so much sense.
Well, people aren't doing it because nobody who has $5,000 just sitting there so that they can pay the upfront cost. And the upfront costs are always the killer. And this is why
there is more, by the way, though, just as a side, there's a lot more people who are doing like sort of like a financing on it.
Right.
So, if you could pay it over, you wouldn't necessarily pay it over a year.
Right.
But I'm saying like even if you did, it might be closer relative to what a normal electric bill would be for your home.
And that take the money from the electric bill or that you would have paid for an electric bill and pay it towards the financing. And
then a year or what? So like, let's say 5,000 just to give us a round number. $416 a month.
Paid over
a
one
year.
Yeah.
So that might be that would be higher than your normal electric bill probably.
Depending on the house.
Right. But I'm saying like, Ken's house was like $300.
Yeah.
So his parents was bigger. So assuming that they might be paying $400 is not unusual.
Right.
So if you just pay for a year's worth of electric bills, then you can have it for more or less free.
Right. And
by
then
year 2.
Year 2 and forward, you are just getting paid to have this on your roof.
And then if they, I don't remember what the limit is for like how long they last. It's like 10 or 15 years, something like that. So I mean, like every 10 or 15 years, you'd probably have to do the same math again. I'm going to pay for a year's worth of electric bills over the course of...
I will say that they weren't always doing financing. I think the companies have now switched to financing because they realize there are no longer anyone else who can afford to just drop the $5,000.
Right, unless you're fat stacks like that.
Nouveau riche, looking at nouveau riche people. So, but if everyone did that, we could stop having these pipelines that are going in and spilling oil everywhere. And I think that there is a culture now amongst the oligarchy about rich people, mainly white people, rich white people, who are just like, you know what, just lie. We can lie, and we know it's a lie, and they know it's a lie, but we're all going to pretend it's not a lie. Like how can you say a pipeline will not leak? It's going to leak.
It's the same thing with the healthcare thing. Like the pre-existing conditions being cut out are a real thing. People who have read the bill, and have gone through it have said it takes away all the pre-existing condition exemptions that happened under Obamacare. But then you get Paul Ryan, you get all these, you get Mitch McConnell going on Sunday shows going like, no, it's ridiculous. We're not punishing women for being raped. And then
the bill actually does.
It actually does. But the problem is that if I'm a diehard Republican and I buy the company line, when you say to me, it gets rid of pre-existing conditions, you could pay higher insurance premiums if you're a woman who's been raped. And I said, no. Paul Ryan went on TV and he said that's not true.
Yeah.
Well, Paul Ryan was lying.
Yes.
And even though I'm saying it because I heard it from him and I assume him to be a reliable source.
He is not a
reliable source. We're just going to go round and round and round where it's just like, who should I trust? You or Paul Ryan, the guy who read the bill? Like...
probably the only person who read the bill completely, other than the news media.
I mean, he might not have. I mean, the assistant of Paul Ryan might
actually
have.
Probably his assistant's intern probably was the one who read it. But
he just looked over it. He's just like, yeah, it seems good to me.
Looks good. With the whatever insurance company that wrote the bill that then handed it to the intern who skimmed it, who then gave a summary to the assistant, who then outlined it for Paul Ryan, who then offered it because. Let's do a little Schoolhouse Rock episode, everybody. This is how a bill gets made. It's ridiculousness. But they just out and out lie. And they expect us to believe it. And there is a level of people in the country that just do believe it. They just think that, they wouldn't lie to us. And I thought, all of my studies of politics came down to like after Nixon and Watergate, there was a lot of suspicion when it came to, politicians. We don't trust the politicians anymore, especially the president. We don't think that they are actually doing what they say that they're doing. Yeah. And I think that's gone away. I think because the generation now that's running things, or that's our age, let's say, we didn't live through Watergate. So we don't remember that. And we're back to the phase of trusting politicians. And the guy who says, well, listen, I voted for Trump. I believe in him. I think that he's going to do the right thing. And I don't believe I think you're lying when you say he's not doing the right thing. Read the bill. Like, the information is out there. I keep my number one Facebook argument is open a book and do some research.
Yeah.
And you don't really even need a book. Go online to reputable websites and do some research.
See, but here's the thing. I will give this. I mean, there doesn't seem to be many truly independent, nonpartisan news sources anymore.
Very true.
I mean, even when you're talking about sites that try and play it closer to the middle, there's still ones that are like, like the New York Times tries to play it as center road as they possibly can, but they definitely have a liberal left-leaning bias.
Right.
That other papers, like Breitbart doesn't have,
Wait, are you saying that Breitbart doesn't lean that same direction?
No, but I'm saying like Breitbart leans far right.
Right.
So if you're the one who is tired of hearing about the New York Times ragging on Trump, then you're going to start reading Breitbart where you don't get that. And then, I don't know.
But you get into echo chambers because you start looking only for stories that are reinforcing what you already believe.
I mean, so it's all about the way that you would say it. We talk about the Dakota Access Pipeline and we say, we knew it was going to leak. It always happens. And here it is. It leaked. And then if we were a right-leaning podcast, we might say...
just the idea. The idea made me choke. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, God.
If we were a right-leaning podcast, we'd be like, it didn't leak. It just... It welled up a little bit. It went into the thing. It was cleaned up immediately. These are exactly why we have these procedures in place.
They did exactly what they said they would do. It's a modern pipeline. It wasn't a spill. It was a leak.
Yeah.
They cleaned it up. This is why we have these
It leaked in
things.
a place where it's supposed to leak.
Right, yeah.
They were on top of it. They cleaned it. It's not a big deal.
Right,
But that's not the point.
That is exactly it. It's not the point. But if you are looking for a great place to get your news, I have a very good source of information for you.
Okay, Twitter.
Well, Twitter, yes. And if you're going to look for good news, there's some great accounts you should follow. The first one is The Anthem, at The Anthem on Twitter, at Robert N. Cheek, at LegendCB5 on Twitter. You should also follow at Founding Future because that's really all the news you really need. It will provide everything that you need at Founding Future.
Lots of guillotine talk.
Lots of guillotine talk, but sometimes we need some guillotines. But no, I was going to say, if you want a really good, reliable source of information, what you should do is go to otheanthem.com and sign up for our email list because that is going to give you a super reliable source of information.
Yeah.
Maybe not about the world, maybe not about Trump or anything else, but about us.
About The Anthem, at least.
And that's really the important thing.
And it's completely unbiased.
Yeah. Totally unbiased, especially unbiased about the podcast. I mean, we say good things, we say bad things. You get to see, hopefully in the next few weeks, me and Corey playing a game of basketball. So it's entertainment and it's news. It's everything that you could possibly want. So, as we said, we are rolling back to Patreon. We're not going to be, we're going to be revamping that over the next few weeks. So in the meantime, go to otheanthem.com, right there on the homepage, sign up for the email list, and that way you can get updates from us, including the bonus stuff that we are putting together, like the basketball video and everything else. So it's not going to be exclusive to Patreon. It's going to be semi-exclusive to people who sign up and get notified about that stuff on the page. So make sure you do that. So, speaking of people who may not be trustworthy, I was looking at you. That's why it came back up. So, Trump, we couldn't go a week without talking about Trump. I guess we kind of did when we talked about the DAPL pipeline. But Trump back in the news again this week, as every good president should, right?
Yeah. Always be on top of the news.
Right. And all for another good thing.
Old Trump.
Certainly not for something that's going to lead to the downfall of the Republic. That's certainly not why he's in the news this week. But let me ask you this, Corey. What is your best firing story?
Like me getting fired?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I've only been fired twice.
Okay.
The first time I had like 3 days left at a summer job.
Right.
and Laura missed the bus. I was supposed to pick her up from the bus before going into work.
Right.
And she missed the bus, and she didn't have a cell phone. I had no way of reaching her. And then when everybody got off the bus except for her, I started like panicking and going like, "Where is she?" And
right.
Where is she? Yeah, trying to get in touch with like mom and like, "Do you know where Laura is?" And like I called up work and I'm just like, "I have an issue. I had to pick up my sister and she's not on the bus and I don't know where she is and I gotta find her." And it's just like, you know what? Don't worry about coming in. You're done.
All right.
So I mean, like I don't know if it's like firing or if it's just like we're agreeing to shorten the end of your stay.
Sure. Yeah. Knowing that you were going to be leaving anyway.
Right.
So, mine very similar.
Just to set it up, though,
yeah,
the best firing story though is that I went. Michelle Branch with the Wreckers was playing in Pennsylvania.
Yes, this is a good story.
And I had just been promoted to line manager,
right,
at Nelson's, and I drove up to Pennsylvania to see the show at like 8:00 or whatever at some Indian casino, and then after the concert was over, 1-ish,
yeah,
I drove back home and got home around 4 a.m. and I was supposed to be at work at 7. Needless to say, I fell asleep at about 4 a.m. Didn't wake up till about 1, and then frantically went into work.
Yeah,
and was relieved of my duties.
Right.
And then spent the weekend with you.
Yeah, they came down and we partied for the weekend, and then they called you begging for you to come back.
Well, no. I went back to pick up my paycheck the next week, and I was wearing the suit, and I was looking all dapper. And I was
going out
just
and getting a job.
Like, I got an interview with a law office. I'm just trying to, it's just sort of like an assistant thing, but, it's a pretty good rate, it looks like. And he's like, "Oh, well, maybe you want to come back here?" And I'm like, I mean, I would, but I got a better offer with more pay. And he's like, "Well, maybe we can bump your pay." And I'm just like, "Well, I guess we could."
So you got fired and then
got a raise.
So my story, very similar to your first one, which was end of summer job. And it had been agreed upon that I would stay until, the Thursday before the Saturday that I was going to leave.
Right.
And the weekend before, probably a Saturday, because I feel like that's how it would work out, went in, worked my shift, and then wanted to go to a party. And my boss was like, no, I need you to, I know tomorrow's your day off, but I need you to stay tonight and then come in tomorrow. And listen, it's my last weekend home from college. I'm not going to do that. And it was just like, well, you need to do that. I'm putting you on the schedule. Your last day is coming up. Don't you want the hours? I'm like, no, I don't want the hours. And so, because you're foolish and you're 20 years old and you're just like, fuck it, whatever. She just
I'm not going to need that $20.
Well, I mean, and to think about it, it really was. I mean, I was making like $5.15 an hour and working like 6 hours. So it was literally probably like $55 maybe, but over the course of the next week. But I was just like, you know what? All right, I'm done. And like, I was just like, I quit. But then I got the like yelling from the back office, like, you didn't quit. No, you're fired. I'm firing you. And I'm like, okay, whatever. You can fire me. I quit. It doesn't really matter.
So hold on. Let me just make sure we're having an understanding here. You're not allowing me to quit. You're firing me instead.
Right.
Okay, great. Maryland unemployment.
And if I wasn't going back to school and thus not giving a shit about anything, that's the best part. I love when I see bosses lose control like that. I'm like, you're just writing yourself a check to pay this person for another 6 months.
There was somebody who worked at Nelson's who didn't show up for like 3 straight shifts, and then when we finally got her on the phone, and it was just like, you missed 3 shifts, so you're fired. She's just like, oh, okay. I mean, I was gonna quit, but if you're firing me, that's fine. And then she filed for unemployment.
Damn it!
And then I had to like.
Well, you have to go fight it because it's for cause,
right?
So.
And then I went there, and I was just like, she missed 3 straight shifts. She no called, no showed, and then said she was going to quit when we finally got in touch with her. And it's just like, well, did she quit? It's like, well, no, we fired her for not showing up for 3 shifts.
Yeah.
Just like, according to Maryland law, you have to give her 5 warnings, and you have to have set things in every single like. And it's like, fuck you guys.
Did you get unemployment?
Yeah, you can't fire. You can't. Anybody who's in Maryland listening to the sound of my voice right now, if you get fired from your job, I can almost guarantee you can get unemployment.
Yeah.
Somebody, an actual story I know of, somebody sexually harassed another employee enough so that they felt so uncomfortable that they had to leave work for the day.
Yes.
And then we fired the employee who sexually harassed it, and then found out once we went to the hearing that even in the case of unless it was like verging on rape,
an assault, an actual assault,
any words you say. So if I was just like, "Hey Rob, let me see that dick," like that's not sexual harassment,
right?
According to the state of Maryland.
So you can't
until I get warned, told that that's inappropriate, and if I do it again, then I can be fired. Yeah. But that first time where I'm like, "Hey Rob, let me see that dick," that's not sexual harassment. Right. That's just a warning.
Well, listen, that was a very private story I told you, and I'm offended that you had to bring that up. But I heard probably the best firing story ever this week, which is that a boss was giving a speech to his underlings and then found out that, or someone said, "Hey, I think you've been fired." And he said, no, that's got to be some kind of joke. And then someone walked in the room and said, "We need to talk in this office." And he had been fired. Like, that is an amazing get fired story. You're never going to beat that. And of course, we're talking about Director Comey of the FBI. So for those of you who don't know, the FBI is supposed to be a nonpartisan bureau. Yeah. Directors are appointed for 10 years to make sure that they last throughout terms of presidents. It's kind of like a Supreme Court pick.
I mean, it's not lifetime, but it is in that sense.
If you luck out and you're a president when the term comes up, then you get to appoint one. But you don't just fire the one that's there and put in your own guy.
Right.
It's not that position.
And also, presidents in the past have, I find myself saying that statement a lot more. Presidents in the past have usually been very in tune to the fact that they need to find the best man for the job.
Yeah, not a political.
It's not political. Let's not just get a Democrat because I'm a Democrat or a Republican because I'm a Republican. Comey is a Republican. Yeah. And pretty well known to be a Republican. Yeah. But also pretty well known of being independent and not caring what anybody said.
Looking for the law. I'm doing my job.
Right. And that's why it wasn't surprising when Obama in 2003,
I think,
or 2000. It would have been 2008 or something like that.
Yeah, it would have been right after he came into office because I think Comey's in his it's 10. He's in his 7th year, so 2010. Yeah.
2010. Obama hires Comey, a Republican,
and
from a Democrat.
Brought him up from the lower levels of the FBI, but said, "Don't care that you're a Republican."
Yeah, it's not like he just picked a lawyer from Goldman Sachs and put him into the FBI, which is what is going to happen.
That is in fact what's going to happen now. But no, basically said, "You've been working at the FBI for a long time now. I don't care that you consider yourself a Republican. I look at your record. You fight the good fight, no matter whether it's against Republicans or Democrats. I think that you're going to be a watchdog. You get the job. That's it." Yeah. And he had been doing that. Now, did he flub a few things? Yes. And I don't want to get into the Hillary Clinton emails versus saying that Trump was also under investigation. We talked about that last fall, about his duty to update Congress when you figure out that you may have lied accidentally to Congress. But you don't get fired for political reasons. And it's becoming abundantly clear that Comey was fired because Trump thought, if I fire the guy who's investigating me, that will end the investigation.
Well, and here's the funny thing. It might work. It might work, but it might also be the dumbest thing that anybody has ever done in the history of the world.
Right. Do you know what else we call that? It is interfering with the administration of justice. Yeah, well, now,
you just pulled an epic Corey?
Article 1 of the Articles of Impeachment against Richard Nixon was about him interfering with the administration of justice because he did something very similar to this. So even if, let's say that Trump and Russia, there's no connections at all, just by firing Comey because he believes that there may be something there, that could be an impeachable offense just by itself.
Right.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah. Like, how ass backwards would it be if you would have survived the impeachment, except for the thing that you did to try and survive the impeachment gets you impeached?
Right.
Oh, sweet justice. Let's hope. But yeah, no, it's completely ridiculous, the entire thing. And even more so that, like, he fired Comey the way that you break up with a girl when you're in middle school. Like, you have a girlfriend, so you send me to go talk to her friend to break up to her.
Yeah.
That's like essentially how the firing happened. Trump sends a letter to the Justice Department or to the FBI and says that based on recommendations.
Here's the part that I just find. The Trump White House is the leakiest thing since
like
the Dakota Access Pipeline. So it originally started with the story was Jeff Sessions and Rod Rosenstein, former U.S. attorney from Baltimore.
Yeah.
Who's the assistant attorney general.
Yeah.
Had talked about all the things that Comey had done that should allow for him to be fired.
Right.
Independently of Trump.
Yes.
This is a situation. We're going to put together memos. We're going to submit it to Trump and let him decide.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that Jeff Sessions has had to recuse himself from anything related to an investigation into Trump, and firing the person who is investigating Trump would certainly be part of...
I'm not sure they know what recuse means. I'm not 100% certain. So.
Regardless. So there's memos that are released from Sessions and Rosenstein, and Trump acts upon those and fires Comey.
As if it was a directive. Like looking at him and being like, oh, I need to fire this guy.
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
well, fire him.
Wow. This seems fairly overwhelming.
Yeah.
I should probably fire him.
Okay, you're fired.
Yeah.
I wonder if he did the...
No.
Yeah, he missed out on the opportunity.
He's a coward.
Yeah, he didn't
He's
bring him in and say, you're fired.
Yeah. I think something tells me that Trump's like holding that in his back pocket just to like... when everything seems like it's tumbling down and he has like one last card to play.
That's how he fires.
He'll
Sean
do like
Spicer.
the "you're fired" on like TV.
Yeah,
and like everyone will be like, "Oh my god, he did it!"
He walks into the press room, grabs Sean Spicer on the shoulder, and says, "You're fired," and he walks out. And I'm handling this on my own now.
I'm gonna be doing the press briefings. You failing New York Times.
Speaking of which, Sean Spicer got involved in the Comey story because he got jumped during a press briefing because he didn't know that Comey was getting fired.
Yeah.
The press knew before him. Funny because actually the press knew before Comey too, which is always interesting that somebody in the press knows that you're getting fired before you do.
By the way, just heads up, I heard from former Obama communications people speaking on a podcast this week about how if news is going to... if you're going to be... putting out a new agriculture plan, you want to give your communication staff a good couple days.
Get up to date on
just
all
on
the
something,
questions.
even if it's just like an agriculture plan, something you think people aren't going to pay attention to, something that you think people don't care about. Like, you still need to be able to have a little time to put your talking points in order.
Right.
Make sure that all the information is out there. You're putting it out in a strategic manner. The Trump communications department apparently got word about Comey's firing 1 hour before it happened. There is literally nothing you can do with 1 hour before.
No. It's like, I got to be in front of the cameras. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You fired the director of the FBI.
What happened?
Yeah.
It's like, we don't know.
Here's a memo.
Well, great. Thanks.
Thanks. So the reason that Spicer kind of got made fun of, and by the way, super excited about SNL tonight.
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy's hosting. She was driving the lectern around Midtown Manhattan. You just know it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But the reason that Sean Spicer was in the news because he got I don't want to say surprised. It's the
ambushed?
White House. You can't get ambushed. It's the White House.
To be fair, it wasn't an ambush because let me put it this way: Spicer was not answering questions. So. The reporters heard about Comey being fired, went to go see Spicer. Spicer, whose office, I mean, if you ever saw The West Wing, it's very similar.
Right.
CJ's door is always open unless she's in some sort of meeting that will take place over the course of the next 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then as soon as everyone is out, the door opens again and press can come in and ask questions. Spicer goes into his office, closes the door, locks it, and doesn't allow reporters to come in.
Yeah.
Then, a little bit later, he goes out and he's having an interview with Fox News. And the press corps looks at one of the many TVs that are all around the White House, sees that Sean Spicer is live talking to Fox News outside.
Yeah.
And all as a gaggle, just go out
and go find him.
and go
on
find
Fox News.
him. And then he's done with his interview with Fox News. The reporters come to ambush him about it, and he hides in a bush.
Best part of the story.
And says, I'm not gonna talk about this on camera. Everyone turn off your lights.
Because lights are required for cameras.
Yeah. But still, they just recorded him in the dark. Like,
And then he just looks like he's the senator, the overlord from Star Wars, because he's lit from behind. He's just like dun 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 dun
from a fucking bush.
But now people are going around and putting little Sean Spicer heads in bushes. The best thing.
I love it.
How many? We are 117 days into the Trump presidency.
Something like that.
How long?
117 years.
Feels like it. How long does Sean Spicer have? What does he have left?
See, here's the thing. If I was Sean Spicer,
Yeah.
I would go for it. Because I feel like so apparently Trump likes Sean Spicer being confrontational and being like the center of some sort of controversy, but he hates it when Sean Spicer looks like a bitch.
Right.
So what I would do if I was Spicer is just like have your regular White House press conference. Like, just tell Sarah Huckabee Sanders to go pound sand.
Yeah.
Go have
more related to the Huckabee and not related to the Sanders that
right.
By the way.
And then go out, have the White House press briefing, do your news up top, take questions. And when somebody from like New York Times comes and says like, "Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about the firing of James Comey," I'd be like, "I'd like to talk to you about this." Blam! Middle finger right in his face. And it's like, "Sean, that's wholly inappropriate." It's like, you know what's wholly inappropriate? Your fucking face.
And then storm off.
Shut up, Glenn Thrush.
And then the news the next day is about him.
Yeah, and then it's about like Spicer in War of Words with Glenn Thrush of the New York Times during press briefing. And then Trump will be like, "Good, he's doing his job. It's what he's supposed to do.
Good.
Let it flow through.
Let the evil flow through you. Let it power you." But yeah, I think that I would like to say his days are numbered, especially because it looks like Sarah Huckabee Sanders is now taking over most of the gaggle brief. So
she is such a mean, unfortunate looking woman.
See, I was trying to stay away from her appearance because it's not about how she.
It's not about her appearance. It's not about her appearance.
She looks angry all the time, though. Yeah, she does look angry all the time.
Here's the thing. Say what you will about Mike Huckabee.
Yeah,
but at the
he's an attractive man.
What? No, I mean, like, what you could. He makes a very beautiful woman.
I know
from experience.
I volunteered that way too soon. Sorry.
If you were to say something about Huckabee that wasn't related to his politics, you would probably say that he seems like he's like a everyman,
right?
Like he's got a certain charm to him, and he's a little funny, and he gets the joke,
right?
And like just watch him with Triumph from the campaign trail.
Yeah.
He's in on the joke. He's trying to make it funny.
It.
He's just trying to play along. He seems like a good enough guy, regardless of how you feel about his politics. Sarah Huckabee Sanders looks like somebody like keyed her car like right in front of her, and then when she went to go like chase the guy down, she tripped and fell in a puddle. And then she just has that face for the rest of the day, that like fuck everything face. Like
Glenn Thrush, fuck you. Fake New York Times, fuck you. CNN, nope. Breitbart, yeah.
Jim Acosta.
All right, so there is one more story that I wanted to get to.
Just real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
there was one thing we didn't cover there because we got off on Sean Spicer.
Yeah.
So the memo was released from Sessions and Rosenstein, and that's the reason why Comey is fired.
Right.
And then it turns out that Trump just decided after 2 rounds of golf last Sunday that he was going to fire Comey.
Perfect
and then
time.
They're interviewing him. I don't remember where it was, but they're interviewing him on TV.
The Economist or the Guardian, somebody was interviewing.
Something, and they're just like, so you decided to fire him? And it's like, yeah, it wasn't them. It was me. I decided.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, so.
Walk me through.
originally you had a story that involved independently the Attorney General and the Assistant Attorney General saying that this guy who is in charge of a office which you don't fire people from, except for Clinton, who fired his FBI director over massively huge corruption charges.
Yeah.
Which is not related, which is not the same sort of thing as what happened here with Comey. The Attorney General and the Assistant Attorney General puts out a memo saying it's a good idea, and then Trump acts on that memo.
Right.
Now, Trump is just talking with people, golf buddies, watching news during the turn at 9.
Yeah.
And saying, like, I'm going to fire Comey. And then the next week he does. That is not the way.
That's not how democracy works, guys. And by the way, this whole story is how we know we're in the late years of the Republic.
Yeah.
Like, this is how you put somebody in a J. Edgar Hoover type character into the FBI. The guy who is going to run it like a secret police, the guy who's going to do what you want him to do. We are looking at massive voter suppression in the 2018 and 2020 elections, which will probably increase Republican numbers in the House and the Senate. And then again, the presidency in 2020. This is the late years of the Republic. We're setting up dictatorship.
Just real quick. If you are, say Comey gets asked to testify in front of the Senate.
Oh, God, I hope so.
Wednesday. And he comes in, he sits down, they swear him in and everything like that. And then it's like, before we start questioning, Director Comey, is there anything you'd like to say? And he just like pulls up the microphone. And he's like, I haven't been able to speak freely at these things before, but just wanted to let you guys know that Comey's off the chain. Go ahead.
Comey's off the chain. Catch me on my Twitter feed. I really hope Comey does have a Twitter. Please start updating on Twitter.
He does have a Twitter.
Good.
You never heard that story?
No.
James Comey has a secret Twitter that he uses to look at other people's Twitters.
Mm-hmm. I meant one that he posts on.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
But so we're in the late years of the Republic. As I continue to tell people, do you want fascism? Because this is how you get fascism. But an inclination that is coming is a story that Corey made me aware of this week. And I think that you do this because you secretly want to give me a heart attack. I think that you tell me these stories to get my blood up. And then one of these days I'm just going to be like, fuck you. And like keel over. I'm not a healthy man.
I like to do to you what the Capitals do to me.
Fair enough. Yes.
I told Rachel, by the way, if I were to suddenly die, of like a heart attack or an aneurysm, don't let the doctor write cause of death like aneurysm, heart attack. Just write Washington Capitals.
And then
whatever happened, if I had a heart attack, it was 90% of what happened. Like, maybe like 5% is horrible diet, but 90% is related to Barry Trotz not telling Kevin Shattenkirk to go sit on a rusty spike until he dies of anal fissions.
Corey's got strong feelings. Could I put a little bit of your ashes in a water balloon, sneak it into Capitals, the Verizon Center, throw it up over the glass and let it break on the ice, and then you could be on the ice there forever with the Capitals.
I mean, I guess you could.
They could let you down one last time, over and over again.
Or you could just take my ashes and just hit Trotz in the face with it. Just like,
fuck you, Trotz. Gotcha.
Just antique Trotz with my ashes.
My plan
Corey says, fuck you.
My plan with your ashes was to keep them right by the desk after I continue the podcast, after you're gone.
It'll be like I never left.
Yeah, it'll be like you never left. But then before we start every podcast, I'm just going to pull a King James and be like...
All right, so Corey's at his part.
Corey's here. All right, yeah, let's go. Let's do this thing. Got Corey in my mouth.
Got Corey in my mouth. By the way, I don't want to be cremated. If any one of you people cremate me, I'm going to haunt you good.
Well, how would you haunt us if your remains have been cremated?
Because
you wouldn't be able to
the
find your
soul escapes the body after death. And
wait, why not cremation? Why not cremation?
I don't like it.
You realize you're going to be dead.
Yeah, but I mean, there's at least a part of me that thinks that,
when the zombies come, you want to come back?
Well, that would be nice. But also, there's also a part of me that just feels like if there's a skeleton in a casket somewhere, and someday they come up with a way to reanimate people, then you're going to be able to reanimate a little bit from the skeleton.
No.
I'm not saying
it's gone after like 20 years.
I'm not saying it's realistic.
The skeleton's gonna be gone after like 20 years.
But there's something there.
No,
there's a little DNA.
It's a pile of ashes, the same as cremation.
No.
Anyway, so what was the story that you told me this week that made my head nearly explode and caused a fight? Which you could we gotta get the video from Rachel. Rachel needs to start updating all of the Anthem.
She just Snapchats like 4-second snippets of it too.
Another fight.
The other thing too, I don't appreciate about that is she always catches us when I'm like in the middle of making some sort of statement that makes me look like an idiot.
Like a Nazi.
Yeah, where I'm just like, if I were to plan a terrorist attack.
Yeah. So, what was the story that you told me this week?
Essentially, up in the hills of Los Angeles County, a burglar had been breaking into homes and stealing things. He breaks into one home. The woman who was home escapes before he finds her.
Right.
And then she calls the police. The police come out to the home. They can't get up to the house because he is firing on them. But they try and form communication. They try and make everything happen. Eventually, they throw in a smoke bomb tear gas,
yes,
to clear him out of the house. And when he comes out firing at the police, he gets shot and killed by an LAPD who is shooting him with a rifle from a helicopter.
Right. Yes. And your point in this, your support of this story is what exactly?
Well, that there is you shouldn't be allowed to try and take people's lives.
Okay.
And that if you are trying to harm people, then you shouldn't be allowed to. You should be able to be taken down if you're trying to harm other people.
Okay. So here's my question for you. What crime did he commit for which the death penalty is a punishment that can be
I'm not saying I agree with that statement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the police should be allowed to shoot people.
Okay.
But I will say that if there is a certain number, if people's lives are in danger,
right,
then there should be a determination that can be made where it's acceptable to take somebody out to save lives.
Here's the next question I asked you. So clearly he had a hostage. He was threatening someone's life, and he had the child in his arms with a gun to the head and said, "I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill her." And the guy in the copter said, "Whew, got it." Bam, and caught him right between the eyes, not hitting the hostage, and dropped him, right?
No.
Okay. All right. So how was he threatening the public?
He wasn't. He was shooting at police officers,
right,
and at the helicopter.
Okay. So who in that list are people who are members of the public?
All of them.
No, they're not members of the public, and this is why this is what I don't understand. My position has been it's been pretty clear over the last 162 episodes, but it's more than that. It's this: that when you sign up to be a police officer, you are agreeing to say, "I am willing to risk my life in this job." Now, you had some nonsense about you can die at any job. Yes, you could die at any job, especially here, because I live in a building, or I work in a building that may not be earthquake compliant. So if there's an earthquake, I'm probably going to die. I work on the second floor, so it's just going to collapse on me. But that is not something that I can anticipate happening at my job. When you're a police officer, you know you are putting your life at risk. That's why we pay you so well. That's why you have really good health benefits, something I don't have. That's why you're in a union, something that I don't have. That's why you get to carry a gun, something I can't do. That's why we give you the authority to take people's life and property. I'm not legally in the state of California. So
really?
Concealed carry is super hard to get here. You have to get your guard card, then you have to get an armed guard card, then you have to get a secret guard card, and it's like a whole thing.
But you could have a gun.
I can own a gun, yes, but I couldn't carry it in public. You can't open carry in California anymore either, because they responded to the Black Panthers by making it illegal to open carry. Who knew? This guy, that too. Anyway, so the whole point of this is that you are risking your life as part of the job. So you can't say, well, he was shooting at me. That's your goddamn job. Your job is to put yourself between the public, everyone who's not a police officer, and your suspects. But our system is built It's supposed to be a system of justice. You get the opportunity to be presented with your crimes and your accusers, and a jury finds you innocent or guilty.
So
the
your
guy
argument
who shoots him with a rifle deprives him of justice, and that is not what our system is made of. That's what fascism is.
So your argument is that all these police officers who have, sons and daughters and wives and moms and dads and everything like that, have less of a right to life than everybody else.
They have an equal right to life as everyone else. But does a soldier have an equal right to life as everyone else?
Yeah.
Why is it that we are willing to have them risk their lives?
Because it's for the greater good.
Nah, but specifically any individual soldier. What have they done that makes it okay that we are okay with them risking their lives?
Signed up for it?
The reason we don't like conscription anymore, the reason that we hate the idea of a draft is because you don't get to choose.
Right.
My name gets pulled. I got to go fight in a war where I could die and I didn't choose. That's why volunteer army is what we have now. You signed up. You go risk your life. You're a hero if you die. And you're fighting for the greater good. Police are the same thing. You sign up for the job. If you think it's too dangerous, if you can't pull over Philando Castile, an upstanding member of the community who has his own concealed carry permit, without shooting him, don't take the job. If you are going to be scared every time you get out of the car and first thing you think is, I'm going to have to kill this dude, or I wonder if this guy's going to kill me. If you can't do the job without being scared, don't do the job. It's a job. Go find something else to do.
My whole point with this argument that we got into the other day and are getting into again now.
Is that your fastest? Yeah.
No, is that at what point do you give up at some point it goes too far.
And I told you, a close quarters shooting battle with him, if one of the police on the ground had been exchanging fire with him and killed him, that's, to me, is justifiable. The part that makes it not justifiable is the guy with a high-powered rifle hunting a human being and killing him from far away.
Number one, I don't think the intent was necessarily to kill.
It doesn't matter. It ended in his death.
I understand, but listen.
It's not the first time, as you told me, that the LAPD has shot from a copter at a suspect.
Yeah.
This should not be acceptable. We do not do this. That is Judge Dredd shit. Jury, and executioner.
When I was going through my Twitter or Facebook, wherever I saw this story from the LA Times.
Yeah.
I saw the headline, "Police shoot man from helicopter."
Right.
And I was like horrified. At the second I read it, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. What the hell is this? And I was imagining when I read that story that I was going to hear something along the lines of it's completely inappropriate for some sort of situation where it was completely inappropriate that they did it.
Right.
But once I read the details of the story, because granted, right now, this is all based off of the narrative that is out there at the moment, so I don't know whether or not any of it's true. But
semi-hot take based on the story.
It's all I have to go off of at the moment, and that's all I have to make my judgment off of, is that they were involved in a prolonged 5-hour firefight between this guy and the police.
Okay.
He had the tactical advantage of being on top of a hill.
Okay.
And being able to shoot down on the cops, and the cops couldn't shoot back at him.
Okay.
There was no way for the police to get to the house. They tried many times to try and get up there to arrest him, to detain him, to do it without killing him.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, the only option that they had was to go from above him because they had no way of getting up to him.
Except for there is always a way to not kill him.
If I killed 5 people, then and a police officer saw me going to kill somebody else, like you were going to be my 6th, and I had the gun up to your head, and the cop shot me to save your life, that would be ruled as a justifiable action.
And what is the rule that I gave you? What is my rule for justifiability?
Saving the lives of...
Not even that. If I, as a citizen, could justifiably kill someone, then the police should be justifiable in killing someone as well. But if they're not, if I, in my helicopter...
Dirty sure, we need some Judge Dreads.
If I, as a citizen, got in my helicopter and shot somebody from a helicopter, is that in any way justifiable, no matter what the situation is?
No.
Right. Now, if someone had a gun to your head, and
I mean, actually,
shot
I
the
guess,
person,
I guess, you know what? I could foresee.
there's no way it's justifiable.
If
No way.
if I'm flying my helicopter, peacefully minding my own business, and
Right.
somebody starts shooting at it,
Right.
and
You return fire.
I return fire.
You know why that's not justifiable?
Why?
Because you are putting too many members of the public in the zone of danger. You are firing a weapon, a high-powered rifle,
You don't know that.
from a helicopter.
You don't know that.
There is no way. There is no way
I'm
that
not
a shot
saying-
from a helicopter is justifiable. That is
I'm saying
military
no. But
shit.
I'm saying if I'm going over, the desert,
Yeah.
and where homes have many acres of property, and there is one person who's in their backyard,
Yeah.
all by their lonesome, seeing me enjoying flying around my helicopter as I tend to do, and start shooting many rounds at me.
Yeah.
And I say, fuck this, I'm former Army Ranger, and I kick open the side door of the helicopter and take him out with one sniper shot.
The reason I can't have this debate with you is because you have no idea how hard that shot is. You have no idea the danger.
Clearly, Army Ranger, I told you this already.
Not necessarily, because the question is, did the Army Ranger have previous sniper duty? Has he been trained as a sniper? Does he have duty in the airborne cavalry? So he's
Yes.
been in a helicopter before?
Yes.
All right, so there are a lot of factors. And even with that, it's not a good shot. It's never okay to kill a man from a helicopter. That is military stuff. And when you have police acting like the military, that's how you get fascism at home. Do you want fascism? Because that's how you get fascism.
I'm not saying that it's ideal, but I'm saying when I read the story, I was not as upset as I was when I read the headline. And Rob is just stuck on the headline.
Now I'm not stuck on the headline. I'm stuck on what they did. They shot a man from a helicopter. That is not justice. That is murder. And I hope that those police officers are held accountable. I wish we had the death penalty only for police officers in the state of California. So if we give you the power of the state and you misuse it, you should get the death penalty. I'm saying that right now. I think nationwide, you should get the death penalty if we give you the power of the state and you abuse it.
The views of Rob are his and his alone, and not of the Anthem or any of its associated brands.
Proudly so. I am Rob, and I approve this message.
All right. Well, you guys can reach out to us, I guess, at any of our social media if you want to give your opinions on whether or not cops should be allowed to shoot people from helicopters under any circumstance.
Yeah.
And if there's a circumstance where you think that it is appropriate, if there is a line, like I have a line, then feel free to tell me where that line starts and ends.
Sure.
Because I'd be interested in hearing.
Now,
because Rob is not going to allow for me to come up with any kind of situation where anybody can shoot anybody from a helicopter.
Never okay. But here's my question for you. Where would people be able to reach out to us?
I don't know. CoreyToTheAnthem.com. The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, foundingthefuture.us, if you're so inclined to the things you may have heard today that are my thoughts and my thoughts alone. You can also find links to the news website and to the books, which are available on Amazon.
I don't have them right here. Buy Rob's books.
Go to prep. But if you like what you hear, the book's all about that. All about doing that kind of stuff. So make sure you check that out. But yeah. And of course, you can find The Anthem on all your social networks at The Anthem. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Obviously, if you're watching on Facebook Live, if you're listening to this podcast via otheanthem.com, make sure you take a little time to join us each and every Saturday on Facebook at The Anthem on Facebook Live. Make sure you turn those notifications on so that you know when we are streaming live and you can come and be part of the show. Also, you can always send us a text or voicemail during the week, and we'd be happy to play those or talk about those during next week's show. So,
real quick, I'd just like to... We have been ignoring the comments. I got a text on the listener line.
Okay.
So, let's see if there was anything that we missed here.
I was looking through.
We said hi to Steve.
Yeah, and I didn't see a lot of comments. Just Let me say also, while we're still on, make sure you check out Dirty Shore Underground podcast. It's dirtyshoreunderground.com. New episodes of that podcast are up with new co-host Tony Steele, Anton Ennals. Fantastic addition to the show.
Straight government.
If there was a person who was going to replace me, the only person who could do it is Tony. So make sure you check that out. New episodes every Thursday, but right now there are 2 episodes available. A best of season 1 featuring me, and the first episode of season 2. New episodes will be up every Thursday after that. And of course, make sure you're checking out Anthem Alliance Podcast at anthemalliancepodcast.com, where you can get the fan show for this show. And they're the perfect people to reach out to if you have commentary about what maybe has Rob gone too far? Has Rob lost his mind? Does he know what he's talking about? That's the perfect place to go because they can discuss that.
Does Corey stand on good ground saying that after a prolonged firefight where you're shooting at cops, you should be allowed to be taken down by the state?
So the fan show is a perfect place to talk about that. Reach out to them. At Anthem Alliance on all your social networks, anthemalliancepodcast.com, at Dirty Shore UG on all your social networks, and dirtyshoreunderground.com. And of course, you can find us at O The Anthem on all your social networks. Make sure you join us not this week, every week on Facebook Live. We are streaming live every week now. So,
well, I think we've done good here today.
I'll agree with you. We've done absolutely perfect today, especially me.
Not a problem.
Not a problem at all. No. We've done something, but I don't know if it's good. Especially if the NSA is listening, I guess.
Yeah.
But as always, you are listening to the
Comey will protect us.
Yeah, Comey. Come and help me out, brah.
Comey's my homeboy.
But as always, you are listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the growing O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Now it's time to go watch some dongs. I'm talking about the Orioles game. The Orioles game. You gotta believe me.